In the city where Leo lived, everything happened far too fast. Doors closed quickly, footsteps struck the ground without pause, words rushed past each other, and no one seemed to listen until the end of a sentence. Even the sun appeared to be in a hurry to set, and the moon barely stayed long enough to say hello. Leo was 9 years old, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not fall asleep. Every night he lay in bed, closed his eyes, and felt the world racing inside his head. Seconds slipped away, minutes escaped. That night, tired of tossing and turning, he sat up and looked at the floor. That was when something strange happened. His shadow did not stand up with him. At first he thought it was a trick of the light, but the shadow took a few seconds to rise, as if it needed time to decide. Then it took a step, slow, very slow, while Leo was already standing. His heart skipped. The shadow walked toward the wall and, without a sound, passed straight through it. Leo did not feel afraid. He felt something else, a deep calm, as if someone were telling him that there was no need to rush. He put on his shoes, quietly opened the door, and followed his shadow down the hallway, down the stairs, and out into the empty street. The city was asleep, yet even in its sleep it felt restless. The shadow led him to an old square, forgotten among modern buildings. At its centre, where a fountain once stood, rose a massive structure Leo had never seen before, a giant clock covered in dust and vines. When Leo touched the clock, the world changed. Noise vanished, the air grew thick and gentle. Everything moved slowly, as if time itself had decided to take a deep breath. "You have arrived," said a deep voice that came from nowhere and everywhere at once. "And you arrive late and on time." Before Leo stood a tall figure wrapped in a quiet light. It seemed neither young nor old. Its eyes reflected long dawns and unhurried nights. "Where am I?" Leo thought, for he did not need to speak. "At the heart of slow time? I am its guardian, or I was." The figure showed him the clock. Some of its pieces were cracked. The ticking was growing weaker. "The world has forgotten how to stop," the guardian continued, "and when no one stops, slow time disappears. If the clock halts, everything will move so fast that no one will remember who they are." Leo felt a knot in his chest. He thought of his city, of tired faces, of nights without dreams. "What can I do?" The guardian looked at him solemnly. "Be the guardian for one night." The clock began to tremble. The cracks widened. Leo felt the weight of something immense settle on his shoulders. The guardian explained that slow time could not be repaired with strength, magic, or commands. Only with attention, with presence, with the ability to stay in a moment without fleeing to the next. Leo sat before the clock. At first it was difficult. His thoughts wanted to run, his body was restless, but little by little he began to hear the tick, the space between one tick and the next, and the silence that held them together. He remembered small moments. An afternoon spent doing nothing, a laugh that lasted longer than expected, a look that needed no words. With each memory, a crack closed. Outside, the city began to change. A child turned back to watch an ant. A mother breathed before replying. An old man smiled for no reason. The clock regained its rhythm. When the first ray of sunlight appeared, the guardian spoke again. "You have done well. You do not need to stay." Leo stood up. He was tired, but it was a pleasant, deep tiredness. The figure began to fade. "What happens now?" Leo asked. "Now you know where slow time lives," the voice replied. "And as long as someone remembers it, it will never disappear completely." Leo blinked. He was in his bed. Sunlight streamed through the window. The city was waking up. But something was different. Leo closed his eyes and opened them slowly, and for the first time in a long while, he smiled before even getting up.